I'll just give you a little introduction about how I came into this program at Heathcote Primary School. I was contacted. My background is a garden designer and horticulture and food, and I was approached by Heathcote Primary School. Cindy Bruchette was starting the Stephanie Alexander program, and they were applying for funding and needed a garden design to go in with their package. So I came in on board with that. So that was the first time I'd heard about Stephanie Alexander School, the kitchen garden program. I then, a couple of years went by and I took a gap year, and the school approached me to come in as a volunteer just in the garden side of it, which I did. And then suddenly I was running the program and teaching kitchen and garden. So it was kind of a big job, but sort of went in at the deep end, and I'm still there. So 5 years down the track, the program is still running and it's absolutely fabulous. The benefits of this program, no doubt Stephanie will give you the background and her ethos, but for our little school at Heathcote is that it introduces children and families who probably have very little background in food preparation, etc., and introduces them to growing their own food, harvesting, cooking, and absolutely loving what they make. So our program runs from runs from kinder through to grade 6. Cindy left and we have a new principal, and Kate Ballantyne is just a fabulous supporter of this program. It's quite expensive to run, but we have Bendigo Bank helps us out there, and as does Food Share and also some of the families. This is really important for children, particularly those kids who don't shine academically. They can shine in the garden and kitchen program. We have an absolutely amazing catering crew, and some of those kids that are on the spectrum are awesome at lining everything up, sending out things that are absolutely perfect. Also, the gardening side of it teaches those children that this is where our food comes from. When I first started there, one little boy had harvested some grass and brought it into kitchen and said, could he put it in the food processor? And I said, that sounds really interesting. What are you going to make? He said, milk. Probably not. So that was kind of some of the background some of the kids were coming from. We now, after this program running for 7 years, have some amazing cooks. One of our number one volunteers are here today. Linda, thank you. Linda originally came from the Stephanie Alexander Garden Program in Collingwood, and we were lucky enough a couple of years in that she came in and said, could she volunteer? Yes, you can, Linda. And she brought with her a whole stack of information and knowledge. And you would probably notice the difference in the kids since the start. So probably at the start, the kids, their food knowledge, but also palate, was 70% wouldn't try foods that they'd never tried before. Now I'm really happy to say it's around about 97% of the kids will try everything. There's a couple of kids that are a little bit difficult, but peer pressure normally works with that. So just recently we cook food from all over the world. Our classes have the classes involve usually a menu of 4 4 styles of food. So it'll start with entree and go right through to dessert. We also cook food from all over the world, so really difficult cuisines, so Japanese. We've just had a food festival, which has been a Carnival festival, which culminated in cooking of foods from Mexico, from Indonesia, and also from Madagascar. So we had that on yesterday. So every child in the school cooked. So we had 90 people cooking through the class, and it rolled out over the morning, and the end result was a feast, which every child and any of the parents and volunteers were involved in. So it was absolutely fantastic. The big kids mentor the little ones. So we had the grade 5, 6 kids mentoring the foundation, grade 1 and 2, and teaching them how to use our very sharp chef's knives, etc. No accidents, I have to say. Very proud of ourselves. So not only does this teach the children about food and about how to grow it and how to cook it and enjoy it, it also gives them some other skills. So it teaches them about responsibility. We have chooks as well in the garden, but it teaches them that if they don't look after the animals and our garden, then there's nothing to eat. So everyone is involved in looking after those. It teaches you organisation. The kids have to organise themselves. It's virtually hands-off with the kids now, and they organise everything from the moment they get into putting on their aprons, washing hands, etc., right through to doing dishes, and the dishes are all done manually. So everybody gets a go at washing, drying, putting away and cleaning up the work area. And they, 1 minute, surely not. Somebody else went over. It also teaches them teamwork. They've got to work as a team. It teaches you manners and respect for each other. Some of the kids, when they first come into the program, come from backgrounds where they don't sit at a table or eat with knives and forks, so that goes right through to that, to using napkins, sharing food, making sure that they serve other people first rather than themselves, and sitting down and having a conversation at the table, which is really important. It teaches them about seasonal planting, what happens when you plant something and it's if you put a seed in and it's not the right season, it doesn't grow. So some of those things happen within the garden, and it teaches the kids what happens in the season. Part of this was a knock-on effect that not only was it teaching the children about cooking, growing their food, that it was a knock-on to their families as well. So I was approached by some of the parents. The kids were coming home who were fabulous cooks and wanting to make the food that they had cooked at school for the family. And of course, some of those families had no cooking skills. They approached me to see if I could show them how to cook some of the food, some of the menus, but also how to stock their pantry with basics and what do they do with that food. And I think that was mentioned through all of the speakers, was how to prepare the food is really important. There's been a big gap of people missing out on school cooking. So they've come, if they haven't learnt it at home and they haven't been taught at school, then they miss out. They're doing the best they can. They're buying prepared food and sometimes frozen food, and they're not killing their families, but they're not helping them either. So part of that was that we started cooking classes for the families, and we called it running your household on a shoestring. But we did everything right from basics, so giving them a budget, teaching them how to stock a pantry, what to buy and how to buy cheaply. And then we started to teach them how to make basic food. So some of the basics were bread, basic meals, stock, what to do with, if we make stock from a chicken, what else we can use the chicken for, and we had 7 meals out of that one chicken, including the stock that they froze. And then continued on, it was a 6-week course. I've since run the same course at California Gully Primary School, and really successful, and it is teaching people about basics, because it's not that they don't have enthusiasm for it. What they lack is expertise and confidence, and they don't want to waste their food. So this has been such a wonderful program, and I kind of use the analogy that it's about giving your children memories. And I know when I was a little girl, some of my memories were of walking into the kitchen after school and smelling food cooking. So, and in the middle of winter coming in, and there was a beautiful pot of soup on the stove, and that's what we had after school. It was healthy, it was delicious, but it also, they are my food memories, and I'm sure that they will be these children's food memories. So thank you.